You probably thought that a spiritual awakening would feel like clarity, like coming home to yourself after years of confusion, pain, and pretending. You may have imagined it would bring peace, a deep sense of purpose, and a quiet knowing that everything in your life finally makes sense. And in a way, that's not entirely wrong. Awakening does bring clarity. It does change your life. But not in the way you expected. Because what most people don't talk about is what comes after that moment of awakening, when the light fades, when the bliss passes, and you find yourself sitting in a strange, hollow silence. Suddenly, the things that used to give your life meaning don't resonate anymore. The goals you used to chase with so much energy now feel empty. The people you surrounded yourself with don't feel as close. Even your passions and interests might begin to feel disconnected from who you are now becoming. You're not depressed, exactly, but you're also not okay. It's as if you've outgrown the skin you used to live in, but haven't yet found the new form that fits. This space, this quiet, disorienting, deeply personal place, is what many refer to as the void. It's the phase of transformation that comes after awakening, and it's not often discussed because it's uncomfortable, messy, and hard to explain. You're no longer who you were, but you're not yet who you're becoming. It feels like standing in a doorway with one foot in your old life and the other hovering in uncertainty, unsure of what to step into. And what makes the space so painful is the loss of internal motivation. You wake up and don't feel driven to do anything, not out of laziness or apathy, but because you can't seem to find any reason that feels real anymore. You look at your to-do list and nothing on it feels important. You try to return to old habits or routines that once gave you structure, but they fall flat. You feel disconnected from the things that used to define you, but you haven't yet discovered what could define you now. You may begin to isolate yourself, not out of bitterness, but because the outside world starts to feel unbearably loud. Conversations that once flowed naturally now feel forced. Social expectations become exhausting to meet. You start to crave silence, not just the absence of noise, but a deeper stillness where something within you is allowed to unravel. But even in solitude, peace doesn't always come quickly. Instead, you're left to face the uncomfortable question, if I'm not who I used to be and I no longer want what I used to want, then who am I? It's a terrifying question because the answer doesn't come immediately. And so you wait. You wait in the in-between with no roadmap and no clear timeline. And the world around you doesn't understand this waiting. It urges you to be productive, to set goals, to stay positive, to move forward. But you can't. Not yet. Because what's happening isn't something you can force. This isn't failure. It's not a regression. It's not weakness. What you're experiencing is integration. Your soul is trying to catch up with the changes that awakening has triggered. It's trying to rewire how you make decisions, how you relate to yourself, and how you engage with life. And because those old motivations, fear, survival, achievement, approval, have lost their grip on you, you're learning how to live without them. You're beginning to sense that the life you want to create from here on out has to come from something deeper. Not another image to maintain. Not another performance to perfect. But something real. Something honest. Something that doesn't require constant validation to be worth living. But real doesn't arrive overnight. It grows slowly, like roots beneath the surface. In this phase, it's easy to mistake stillness for stagnation or emptiness for meaninglessness. But if you look closely, you'll begin to see the subtle signs of something new forming. You'll start to notice that you're more sensitive to what's fake. You might feel overwhelmed in environments that once energized you because they no longer match the frequency of your truth. You'll find yourself letting go of friendships, dreams, even entire versions of yourself that no longer feel authentic. And though that letting go is painful, it's also necessary. Because this journey, your journey, isn't about becoming more. It's about becoming less of what you never truly were. And in the process, what's left is something raw, unpolished, and real. That rawness is where your new life will grow from. So if you're in this phase right now, this strange in-between where nothing feels certain, where the days blur together, where you feel like a stranger in your own life, know this: you are not lost. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are becoming. Quietly, slowly, and in ways the mind can't always see. What feels like emptiness is often just space being made for truth. What feels like confusion is often the dismantling of illusion. And what feels like being stuck is often a sacred pause, a period of rest before a deeper alignment begins to unfold. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to rush into building a new identity. What you need, more than anything, is permission to be exactly where you are. Resting, listening, allowing, trusting that something wiser than your mind is leading the way. Eventually, the fog will lift. Not all at once, but gradually. You'll begin to feel a quiet pull towards certain actions, certain places, certain people. Not because they fill a void, but because they reflect who you truly are becoming. You'll stop chasing life and begin moving with it. You'll speak not to be heard, but to express something real. You'll create not to impress, but to serve. You'll love not to be needed, but because love is what naturally flows from a soul no longer at war with itself. So take a breath. Take as many as you need. This phase will pass, not because you pushed through it, but because you allowed it to teach you. The stillness you feel now is not your end. It is your rebirth. The void is not the absence of life. It is the space where your truest life begins.